Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast.
35,000 decisions in one day. Does that sound like a lot to you? Because it does to me. And on average, that's how many we'll go through. Well, a majority of those are going to be whether or not you should go after a goal to make a dream your reality, or if you should self-sabotage. And we already know that you are going to. You're going to go to the dark side. You're going to do the things that are actually going to hold you back. So wouldn't it make sense to choose how you're going to self-sabotage to minimize those effects? 35,000 decisions in one day. It sounds like a lot. At least it does to me. And that's how many you'll run through in one day. And a majority of those decisions are going to be based on, should you go after your goals? Should you turn your dreams into reality? Or should you self-sabotage and get some immediate relief from the pressure that at times can seem unrelenting? Well, we already know that all of us are going to self-sabotage at some point. So wouldn't it make sense to pre-decide how you're going to self-sabotage so you do it in a way that minimizes the effect of holding you back and weighing you down? Well, that's what I want to share with you today. This is something that I've been taking my own private clients through. And the first step that you want to take in minimizing self-sabotage is using future projection. This is one of the things that separates us from other animals who live on instinct. They're always in the moment. We have the ability to put ourselves in our future and then be able to say, okay, what I want to experience with that goal, well, there's an identity attached to it. So if I back up to today, what are the steps that I need to take to be able to become that person? See, every habit and pattern that you have in place has an identity attached to it. And so we want to upgrade who you are currently. Now, I know that there are people who are like, I just go with the flow. I don't necessarily have goals. And I'm like, that's great as I'm stepping away from them, because only dead fish go with the flow. If you have ever been trout fishing, oh my gosh, you see how the trout actually position themselves against the flow of the water. And then they let that flow bring their food source to them. This is what it means to operate in harmony, not flow. Salmon have to go against the flow to be able to fulfill their mission and purpose, but they actually use it to make them stronger. Okay, so future projection allows you to put yourself into the experience that's coming towards you and saying, how do I want to move through it? So use future projection to decide how you self-sabotage. Don't have it this nebulous thing that you can't nail down. Begin to look at the different ways that you're held back. I'll give you an example. I do what's known as the overs and the twos. I overschedule. I overshare. I trust too much. I do too much for others. And it's because 80% of who we are is learned by age 8. And by age 8, I had already learned to overperform and overcompensate for other people, to do too much for them, to fill in the gaps, because the value of me and my brilliance was replaced with what they value. And I had to overperform on my worth to be accepted. I'm just giving that as an example. Broad categories. So I know I'm going to do over and I'm going to do 2. So now let's fine tune that future projection into our next step. That when you get up in the morning, are you projecting how you want to go to bed that night by looking at what you've learned, what you've enjoyed, and what you want more of the next day? By the way, I didn't come up with those questions. Some people a whole hooping bunch smarter than me did that. But do I use them to my benefit? Yes. The last 45 minutes before sleep, whatever you consume during that time will be played out 6 times more in your dream state. This is where your subconscious typically moves through 3 phases. The first phase is, here's the problem. The second phase is, this is how we're working on it. And that's the phase when a lot of people will wake up and they're discombobulated and, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Well, go back to sleep, because you need to get to the third phase, which is, oh, this is how life is now that I've resolved it. And whatever you experience the last 45 minutes before sleep is going to either hinder this process or it's going to help it. So before I go to bed, I've got some beautiful videos playing on the TV, maybe of places I want to visit and or experiences that I want to have. Now, some people will journal. My mind works way too fast for me to be able to write, so I ponder. And these are the 3 questions I ponder. Again, this is the last 45 minutes of my day before I go to bed. So I ask myself, what did I learn today? Now, sometimes what I learned are the unexpected experiences that were either problems or challenges. So, for example, yesterday, I had someone reach out to me and go, oh, yeah, I heard someone that used to be close to you passed away. I'm sorry. The only way they knew that is because there was someone else who has a problem keeping their mouth shut. This is the reason why that person who has a problem keeping their mouth shut, who had called me a week or 2 earlier and said, hey, I heard about this. Is it the truth? Yeah, it is. It's not common knowledge, but it's the truth. And she only knew about it because the business that she's in, that something she had written with the deceased was now terminated. And she's like, oh, okay. Sorry about that. Well, one of the reasons why she's not consistently in my world anymore is because I could not trust her. There's 5 levels of trust. The first level is they know you. The second level is once they know you, they are for you. And if I can't trust you in the second level or beyond, you're not going to be consistently in my world. So I learned yesterday, that it was confirmation that, yeah, this person might not be good to have in my life more than an occasional basis. Okay, so what we learn can be around problems or challenges. What did we enjoy? Oh my gosh. Now, this can be the surprises and the gifts during the day, but what we also enjoy is when we've been given a problem or a challenge and we've been able to take the steps to move towards either a result or a resolution. See, that's the difference between problems and challenges. And the subconscious mind is working in two different directions with them. A problem is typically what's known as avoidance. You want to get away from something. A challenge is approach. You need to move into it. And if we're not careful, we will wind up with more problems than challenges. And the subconscious will not tolerate a void. Once it takes out a problem, it says what's next. And if we don't consciously choose what's next, it'll replace it with what it just got rid of. And this is the reason why we can find ourselves moving from problem to problem to problem, where a challenge is going to ask you to upgrade. It's going to ask you to upgrade your focus. Hold that resolution that you want, that dream you want to turn into reality. Hold it with your focus until you get it. Optimize those emotions, because you know what? The fear, the pain, the questioning isn't going to go away. So are you going to use it for your benefit? And the actions, are you taking actions where you're implementing for impact? Because when you do that, you will fail more frequently than what you will succeed, but that success will outshine everything. In fact, Pareto's principle tells us, the 80-20 rule, that for every 5 things we do, 4 are going to be various levels of failure, and only 1 is going to work. And most people, the last statistics I looked at, they stopped at like 1.2 things. No, you haven't even worked the law. 1 out of 5, 2 out of 10. But then that 1, that 2 lead to an amazing life. And that's what you begin to build on. That is what's known as an identity upgrade, where you get a resolution because your identity is now congruent. It's harmonious with what you want to experience. Or you can go from problem to problem. By the way, this is the reason why I love hypnosis, working with my clients, teaching them self-hypnosis, using self-hypnosis with myself, because then I can program my subconscious that once it has gotten results on a problem, let's look for something that's going to challenge us, because it's going to put something there. Okay. So we ask ourselves these 3 questions. What did we learn? What did we enjoy? And what do we want more of tomorrow? Now, here's where you can use future projection to benefit you and pre-deciding how you're going to self-sabotage. Because when you get up in the morning, I want you to ask yourself how you're going to go to bed that night. What is it that you wanted to learn? What is it that you wanted to enjoy? What is it that you want to say, oh, I want more of this? So you future project, and you already know that, okay, well, I'm going to learn some things. And I'm going to learn some things around the ways I self-sabotage. So what do you want to learn with it? That's going to be different for every individual. And so finding out yesterday, yeah, I've got validation around someone that I should not trust past the first level. Well, what do I want to learn? I want to learn what to look for in those that can be trusted. I want to look for and learn how to have an immediate connection with those that they can know me. They get me. They're for me. And then I want to start looking at their track record. Oh, that's the 3rd level. And the character. What values do we share? But what do we value that's different that they can teach me? And then 5, what do we want to create together? Okay. So future project in the morning some of the things that you want to learn. And then future project, what is it that you want to enjoy? Now, this goes back to the problems and the challenges. And you will get more enjoyment out of being challenged and taking action on that challenge not necessarily getting the results or the resolution, but the taking action in a way where, yeah, this came up and I was able to not only handle it, but move over it, use it as a stepping stone for my success. And I'll give you an example of this. I already told you that you need to figure out how you sabotage, but in broad ways. And I know that I have a tendency to overschedule. Some people call it a to-do list. I call it a to-da list because I cross something off and I'm celebrating. Ta-da! Well, this morning, my pup needed a little bit more playtime outside. Oh my gosh, the heat has been unrelenting here, almost a week of triple digit numbers with high humidity. It's just been awful. So he hasn't been able to go outside in the afternoon and the evening. So let's grab the time in the morning. Well, after we finish that extra playtime, I come in and I'm like, okay, I've overscheduled this morning. So now it comes down to I can either fix myself a really healthy breakfast or I can work out. And I'm working out my free weight routine. I've just gone up in weights. And so it's uncomfortable. I'm like, all right, oh boy, I'm really leaning towards, I just take the time to fix the healthy breakfast. And then I flashed to getting ready for bed and asking myself, what did I enjoy today? And the answer was, it's not going to be, oh, I fixed myself a healthy breakfast, because that wasn't challenging. It was working out with the weights and maybe eating a breakfast that's a little bit on the fly, moving too fast, but that's okay. It's occasional. So I chose my self-sabotage because I couldn't fit both healthy things in, but I did it in a way where it was going to minimize the impact long term on what it is that I want to create. Risk mitigation. So you want to project yourself into your future and begin to look at, okay, well, this is who I'm becoming. If I've got two goals, they cannot be side by side. One of them is going to have to be placed in a higher power position. Now, people come to me all the time and go, I'm blocked. I'm like, you're not blocked, you're conflicted because you've got two things that you're valuing at the same level. And that's not the way we work. One always has to take precedence over the other. Now, at times it's going to be context dependent. I remember when my oldest, who's in his mid-30s now, whenever I was in corporate and he was 9, 10 years old and he was asthmatic. So if he'd come down with the cold, really had to be careful that it didn't turn into something worse in his lungs. So there were times when I would have to take him in to work with me and create a little place in my office for him to hang out on the floor with blankets and pillows and his Game Boy at the time. And the reason why I couldn't stay home is because I had a position at work where if I was out one day, that was okay. 2 days, there were several departments that weren't going to run, and it just wasn't going to be allowed with that position I had. So either I was looking at what was I going to have to do occasionally to make this happen. Now, if it would have been on a consistent basis, I would have needed to step down to a lesser position. But it was occasional. So, yeah, I did have to value work over my family and their health at times for the long-term success. Okay. So, looking at how you sabotage in a broad way, Then at night, how do you end your day with what you learn, what you enjoy, what you want more of? And then in the morning, future projecting yourself to what it is that you're going to share. And chances are it's not going to be that at all, but you're programming your RAS, your reticular activating system, to scan your environment for the ideas and the opportunities to turn your choices into reality. And you're doing also risk mitigation, that when it comes up with the choice of two yeses, which one is going to take dominance? Which one's going to have the power because of the longer term, healthier results? And this will begin to allow you to self-sabotage in a way that, yeah, you're still not getting all of it, but what you do have, or where you do have to hold yourself back, you are actually minimizing the effects, the long-term effects on your life. And it's a wonderful way to have your subconscious trained to say, if I do something and maybe it's not the healthiest, I know it's only occasionally and it's not a pattern that I'm now going to be consistent with, because I'm always looking for ways to upgrade. Okay. Let me know in the comments what it is that you felt assisted you today. Now, if you're listening to this on the podcast, depending on the platform, I don't always see all the comments. So feel free to shoot me an email, dawn@dawnlandrum.com. But let me know what you feel is going to benefit for you out of this training today. So that way I can begin to customize a little bit more content on you being able to move up to your next level. And if you want to do it where you get rapid results and resolution, instead of having to drag it out because it's completely customized to you and your success, go to my website, dawnlandrum.com, sign up for a complimentary coaching call. I guarantee you will leave with a tip, tool, or technique you can use immediately to improve the quality of your life based on your unique personality. And we'll also see if I might be a good fit for you. Until we get together again, blessings on your brilliance.